Hello everyone, it's Stray Faye here with another episode of Olympia Soiree. We're on chapter 6 of Himuka's route. Last episode, we had a lot of failed interactions, I feel like. Tried to fix things up with Hyrie a bit, failed that. Questioned our use of the solar link, using the souls, the little soul crystals to show the people of Yomi. Failed in that interaction because we didn't really have an alternative to suggest to Doma. And then we met another person who's like quite obsessed with Byakuya. We haven't seen him in a while, but like that guy at the beginning in the prologue that tried to grab Byakuya on her birthday, met him. He offered himself up in marriage. But luckily we were saved by Himuka. And then Byakuya proceeds to disarm him. It's like a very bad idea, I feel like. Himuka comes to the rescue, threatens to use Batsu, even as like a bluff. And she's like, no, don't even use that as, not even as a threat. Which, on an island where like so many people are like trying to eat you alive, disarming your ally feels like the wrong choice, but Byakuya has her morals. I guess it could turn out to be bad though, as we saw with Riku. He threatened to use Batsu and was heavily punished for it. Or more like he punished himself, but... Anywho, let's continue with Himuka's route. Next chapter, Left Out. 2 letters to the Red District today. But before I go... Alright, we were gonna say Tsukuyomi, right? I haven't seen him in a good bit. Good morning, Tsukuyomi.
You are looking well today, my dear child.
You have a smile in your eyes. I do feel well most days. There's actually something I wanted to ask you, Tsukuyomi.
And what might that be?
Tsukuyomi, did you know my father? Does he know? I would like to know. I have a suspicion I know who it is. I'm pretty sure, like, with all the clues and, like, mannerisms that we see in Doma, I think Doma's, like, actually her dad. Even though he's, like, says that he's dead. There's been some interactions, like, in Tokisada's route, where he kind of, like, looks at her in surprise. And the fact that, like, he's the one who took guardianship. I think he's, like, I think he's the father. Is Tsukuyomi gonna say it? Tsukuyomi's thin lips moved slightly. From the looks of it, maybe I shouldn't have asked. You don't need to tell me if you don't want to.
Why do you ask?
I wanted to use my father as an example for the type of husband I should choose. I don't know if we should use Doma as an example. As a man, I mean, he is like vicious. Politically vicious. Not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Ah, indeed. It seems like only yesterday that you cried over your sandcastle washing away, then went to hit the sea in your rage. Time flies by so quickly.
I sort of remember that. So embarrassing. Tsukuyomi's kind of like a dad. He's like one of the few men that can travel to the island. This is why I couldn't fight Tsukuyomi. He knows all your embarrassing secrets, your dark past. He remembered every little misdeed from my childhood. I wasn't able to learn anything about my father after what happened on my 5th birthday. Or maybe I simply forgot. I mean, now that I think about it, I don't even know his name.
Your father had no memory of his name.
Huh?
The man who washed ashore on Tennyo Island had amnesia.
My father had what?
He had no recollection of where he came from, not even his name.
Well, that makes it harder to, identify him, huh? I'm assuming he built a new identity. Gave him a new name. My heart was racing with anticipation. It was as if a door that had been tightly shut for so many years was suddenly opening. Are we gonna learn today, please? Tell me. Spill the tea. So, what color was his hair? Was he tall? Did he have a beard or any other features like it? We haven't seen anyone with a beard on this island, huh? They're all beardless beauties here.
I believe his hair was black.
It has to be Doma. It has to be. Which means he's from the black color class?
Perhaps.
So, my father couldn't remember his name at all?
I believe he did at one point, but he disappeared before he could reveal it.
With that, the door mercilessly shut again. That's all he's gonna tell us. I see.
Byakuya.
Tsukuyomi suddenly called me by my true name. He had only used it a few times in the past. What is it?
I just remembered something I meant to tell you now that you are 18. The meaning of why the white find their husbands.
I felt an ominous stirring in my chest. Tsukuyomi's expression was the same as usual, but his smile seemed unusually threatening.
I believe Hakuwa has shared this with you before. When a woman of Tennyo Island falls in love, she gains the strength of her soulmate.
Yes, I've heard that.
Tennyo Island women also take on the color of the men they deem to be their husbands.
Color? Interesting, we're learning this now instead of at the end where we just kind of recall Mother's words.
And by offering it to Amaterasu during your ritual dance, the sun is made radiant.
Sun? Question mark? I feel like we're getting a summary of all the information that we learned in the other routes. In case you forgot. Because, all the information is kind of spaced apart. Ah! That's right, let me tell you something special. We girls on Tennyo Island have a wonderful secret. When you and your soulmate find each other and fall in love, you'll take on your love's color and strength. Wait, so that's what that meant?
Have you ever wondered before why Doma uses show from Yomi to feed the sun?
There's another connection with Doma. If he's met the women of the white, he might understand how their powers work and made a synthetic way to replicate it. My body went tense.
Without colors, without souls, it cannot shine. The women of Tennyo Island take on the colors of their husbands to offer to the sun. On Tengu Island, souls are transformed into show and death to be made as offerings. The method is different, but the concept is the same. The sun of this world has shone with the light of human souls, of human colors, from ages ago.
Tsukuyomi?
Does it make sense now? Why the red calamity caused the sun to fade?
A shiver. A sudden chill ran down my spine.
It was because the women abandoned this world.
I mean, did they really abandon it? Or, like, they were attacked, right? So they took their own life.
You alone were left to fill the role, but were far too young to carry out the task.
Me? Alone?
In the years of your youth, it was impossible for you to obtain colors in the matter of women.
But...
In other words, by taking a husband, you can now truly worship and protect the light of the sun.
Huh? Wait.
Of course, this is known by very few. But from this day forward, I hope you take my words to heart and fulfill your role as a woman of the white.
Of course I'll try my best, but...
That is the way of this world.
Honestly, I was still in a daze. I couldn't seem to absorb everything I just heard. This way of this world, but... Offering my purse as a son comes so naturally to me that I never questioned the source of the power behind it. I mean, she's just doing the dance, right? Like, right now it's just symbolic. She's not transferring any power anywhere, but we've seen in other routes when she does take on the colors of the love interests, and then she ends up doing the dance. Like, the color ends up, like, floating to the sea and going to the sun. Like, I kind of wonder, like, does that, like, shave off any lifespan of the guys? I feel like taking on part of the soul might be a little draining. But colors have been used this way for ages? Maybe that's why, like, the men can't stay on the island for too long. They just get sucked dry. They wouldn't live very long.
You may be surprised, my dear child, but this is what all Tennyo Island women are taught when they reach 18. I have now taught you on Hakua's behalf.
I see.
I look forward to seeing who you will choose to be your husband.
Alright, bye. This all feels so unreal. Man, we're learning it so early. I wasn't thinking of what I heard was a lie. What Tsukuyomi said did make sense, and he explained to me what I wanted to know. He didn't tell you who your father was, though. He just gave you a vague hint. All this time, it was colors that have kept the sun shining brightly. If that was the case. Regardless of Doma's intention, he used the show of those in Yomi because he couldn't use the show of those on the surface. Yeah, there'd be a big riot, probably. All because they were already dedicated to the construction of the Ama no Miyashira. But there are also Ko and Otsu show on the surface. The sun's light does not reach Yomi, yet in death they themselves can reach the sun. Wait, so Doma's actually treating their souls with respect? That can't be right. I mean, it's him! There you go, hating on Doma. Giant pillar. I looked up at the brilliant shrine gate towering over me. Wonder how much soul power is just consistent of that. How long would the sun shine if we just offered that whole thing? I was told that Lord Hiriko ordered that it be built, but for what purpose? Of all the show on the surface, if all the show on the surface were instead offered to the sun, it would surely ensure the sun's stability far into the future. Yeah, we don't know why this is like being built. Like, is it gonna have a purpose? Is it just a monument? The souls of those on the surface used in death to build the gate for Lord Hiriko. And with the souls of those in Yomi, we can make the sun shine. Which do you suppose is the greater honor? Perhaps Akaza and Kuroba still didn't know the deeper meaning behind why the women of the White needed to find husbands.
That is the way of this world.
The way of this world. If that's true, then what does honor really mean in this world? After my letter inspection, I arrived at the Red District. Now that I'm done with my deliveries, what should I do? What am I thinking? It's obvious what I should be doing. Tsukuyomi went to all that trouble to remind me of my role, so I should find a husband as soon as I can. Still haven't told. I wonder what Tsukuyomi said if we said we chose Himuka, or thinking of Himuka. I'm usually alone here, so they must be glad to have your company. Don't worry. They'll be at peace now, thanks to you. His face from back then returned to mind. Mourning the dead alone was just part of his life. I think I'll go back to that beach. Are you gonna find a carriage driver? As I had done that day, I somehow persuaded a reluctant coachman to take me to Corpse Beach. I wonder if he's gonna be there. I think Himuka's all over the place. None of them seem to want to go near there. Sure, it's a bit eerie, but I wouldn't say it was defiled or filthy like some others would. And he seemed quite clean, other than the burning bodies. Huh? Isn't that... I disembarked the carriage and walked a bit, seeing a familiar figure up ahead. Good afternoon, soldier. Soldier? What? I wasn't expecting you here. What? There was a hint of sorrow in his voice. I froze for a moment, but immediately pretended not to notice. What a beautiful day it is, wouldn't you say? Why are you here? Why are you here too? I'm gonna ask you the same question. I was about to ask you the same thing. This ain't about the money. That place is the most defiled, deadliest place on the island. I heard this is where Okijiku was sent off. Oh, did you know him? He was of the blue, right? I finally understood why he had tears in his eyes. Rather, I hope that was the reason. Yes, that's right. He was sent off into the sea with a flower wreath. A flower wreath? He looked around the area. The place is filled with so many flowers ready to be picked. Riku crouched down and began to pick the flowers around him with tremendous haste. Oh, what? Being so diligent here. You want to send off a flower wreath too? When one hand was full, he stood up, walking to the edge of the shore, and threw the flowers with all his might into the sea. Alright, a little less elegant, but I guess that's his way of honoring the dead. I don't know how to weave. Oh, okay. It's okay. That's alright. The red, blue, and yellow flowers scattered for a moment, drifting further out before eventually disappearing under the surface one by one. I thought it was just another rumor. Huh? Okijiku was in the Yomi patrol unit with me. I befriended him as we were close in age, and he was a very earnest man. That's right. Okijiku was with the blue. But he never said anything about it to me. So when I heard the rumors, I did not believe them. I thought he would never do such a thing. But now, he is dead. He was so straightforward, so earnest. That's why he was forced to do it. they said. I looked away, pretending not to see his tears. But through my eyes, I saw my own vision blurring. I kept thinking, if only he told me what he was going through. Then again, there's nothing I could do with the class system in place. Was he my enemy or my ally? I mean, I hope Riku, regardless of the route, would become a good leader of the Blue and would not sacrifice souls. Like, use the Hazushi souls for that purpose. I hope he would abolish Hazushi, along with Akaza. At the very least, he came all the way out here for Okijiku, and even shed tears for him. He came to the beach that everyone else treated as filth. About that, why don't you start doing with what you can? Huh? You don't want to cry anymore, right? Why don't we think of something we can do? What in the world are you saying? His shoulders sank with disappointment. Colors are colors, and traditions are traditions, and they cannot be changed, no matter what. I mean, we can change traditions. Well, fine then. Hey. Thank you for picking the flowers. I'm sure your flowers made it to them. I'm just repeating what Himuka said to me. If you'll excuse me. Wait. Don't ever say what you just said to anyone in the military. I would never say that to just anyone. You wouldn't? Then why me? Because you came to this beach. I thought that you would be able to understand since you came here to pay your respects. He looked down for a moment, then quickly looked up again. Olympia, you're always plotting and scheming like this, and I can't just let that be. Huh? You're not gonna call me a loose woman again, are you? We haven't regressed that far, have we? Before you do anything, consult me or Akaza first. Do I make myself clear? Well, that's rude, saying that I plot and scheme. But now I know that he's on my side. Yeah, Byakuya is the worst at plotting and scheming. I haven't decided on what to do just yet. But when I do, I'll be sure to ask you first. Whatever you do, please be careful. I will. Well, I should get going. See you. See you? I walked along the beach with a sliver of hope. Even if I can't bring change at once, it can be done one step at a time. With the help of people I can trust, I'm sure it will happen someday. Mio and Okijiku would never return. I didn't want people to shed any more tears. I'm deviating from my husband's search again. Despite my guilt, I had to laugh about it. Maybe I'll go and look for Himuka this afternoon. Okay, I guess we didn't find him there. Have you heard about the Undertaker? I hear he's trying to lure in Lady Olympia. I mean, it's gonna be more like Lady Olympia's trying to lure the Undertaker at this point. He's gonna be a hard man to pin. What's gonna happen to the sun if she gets Haku? Isn't there some way we can keep the Undertaker from her? If you're gonna gossip, you should be more aware of your surroundings. I'll just pretend I didn't hear any of that. As I was about to cross the plaza, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Oh, Tokisada, sis! It could have been someone much worse. Ah! He looked around us and spoke in a hushed tone. I heard you had a tough time here yesterday. It was nothing. Oh, don't get me wrong. Himuka was just trying to save me from someone. Yup, I figured as much. But, Tokisada looked around again, then moved closer to my ear. Are you friends with Himuka? I felt a bit sad seeing Tokisada's confusion. Did he also see Himuka in a bad light like the others did? It's not like that I don't like him or want to call him names or anything. I don't think he's a bad person, not even a little. Don't you think he's sort of similar to me? You know, as an outsider, and he's also skinny as a twig. Huh? Oh, come on. I know you have a lot of outsiders around you, so we almost look the same. But my hunch is telling me he's one of us. I have a knack for noticing stuff like that. Is he? They say Hiriko's an outsider. And now that's just gonna solidify my theory that Himuka equal Hiriko. I really think Himuka's another outsider. Okay, if Tokisada thinks so too, the only other outsider we have not met is Hiriko. That too, but long ago I wandered this ocean on a boat for a very long time. Which is why being out on the ocean reminds me of how lonely I was. Wait, is he really? I think you might be right. Come to think of it, he's always been a rather unique person ever since we met. You know, I think you might be right. Right? Even though Tokisada was sort of forcing the idea onto me, I had no evidence to deny what he was saying outright. Sis, you've been talking to him a lot lately, right? Why don't you ask him? Tokisada, is there a reason why you're interested in knowing whether Himuka's an outsider or not? I want to know if he's, if he's comrade, if he's similar to him. And he's probably also curious to see if Byakuya is more interested in Himuka than she will be of Tokisada. Huh? Tokisada looked down and started playing with his collar. I thought maybe we could be friends. It'd be nice if I had a friend around my age who was an outsider too. Friend? I mean, if he is Lord Hiriko, he's like as old as the island, right? It would definitely not be Tokisada's age, even though he does look and act young. I was relieved to see Tokisada's bashfulness. It seemed his earlier confusion was shyness all along. Oh, I respect Lord Jigen and the others, but I can't really talk to them casually. I don't blame him. I'm still a bit afraid to approach him right now, but I'd like us to get along if possible. I'm starting to think it's a good idea for Himuka to have friends too. So then, sis, will you let me know if you find out anything? Sure thing. After partying with Tokisada, I headed to Yomi. We still have not bumped into Himuka yet. Outsider. The more I think about it, the more I think what Tokisada said is true. It doesn't matter to me if he's an outsider or not, but if there's a reason he's hiding it, I'd rather not force him to reveal himself. Come to think of it, I didn't really know him very well. All I knew that he was the Undertaker and a strong wielder of Batsu. Isn't that... Yusugi was dragging her feet ahead of me as she turned into an alley. I hope she's okay. I knew I should mind my own business, but I couldn't just ignore how lifeless she was. I just spilled a bunch of water on myself. I'm not following her. I'm just checking to see if she's alright. I tiptoed into the alley behind her when... Yusugi, no! I pulled her back as she was about to jump into the canal. Huh? We both tumbled backwards onto the ground. Yusugi, what are you doing? This canal isn't very deep, you know. Huh? You absolutely cannot die. Huh? I'm so sorry to cause you trouble again. A tuft of her black hair came out from between the folds of her loose scarf. It's not hideous at all, but I suppose it would be cruel to say so when she obviously believes otherwise.
I believe his hair was black.
I wonder if my father's hair was like this too. Thinking about my father was making me long for the color terribly. Yusugi, I know things aren't easy for you now, but I really don't think dying is an option. I didn't really think I would die going in there. But I was wondering if death would be easier. It would be easy to deny it immediately. But that probably wasn't what she wanted to hear right now. I don't know if it would really ease your pain, but I'd be sad to see you leave. Huh? You were the first person who gave me a letter to deliver after I started my service. Is that really so? Yusugi wiped away her tears. I know I've said it before, but don't worry. You know I came here from Tennyo Island, right? I kept myself locked away in that manor for many reasons. I don't know the details, but I heard you hardly ever left Lord Doma's manor. That's right. It took me years before I finally decided I would step out into the world again. She seemed to hold her breath. I can only imagine how you must be feeling. So it's fine to cry or feel sad if you want to, but please live. I didn't want to see her leave me like they did. I didn't want to mourn her death like theirs. Lady Olympia! Yusugi must have noticed her hair was exposed as she gently pushed it back into her scarf. I don't know what to do anymore. I could see droplets of tears shining on her eyelashes. I feel so pathetic, so ashamed, so frightened every time I look in the mirror. The letter from my parents said they would apply for permits to come and see me. They both have beautiful golden hair. I don't know how I can face them like this. Leaving the surface was painful. Talks of my wedding were abandoned, so it was difficult to see my parents in distress. But I want to see them still. It's odd. My mind seems to be all over the place. It was something I understood very well, which was why I wanted her to stay alive. How about writing back to them asking for more time? More time? You can tell them that you need a little more time getting accustomed to your new surroundings. In any case, I think settling in here might make you feel more calm about everything. She has friends she could rely on. Masuhana. Yusoga will help her too if she asks. I think you're right. If I saw my parents now, I would only feel envious of their golden hair. He gave a weak smile and slowly stood up from the ground. I should return soon. Masuhana must be worried by now. She's ever so kind to me. Yes, she really is a kind person. Lady Olympia, I must express my sincere thanks for today. I'll take a rest in my room. Please do. Her back looked so small and frail as she left. If only I could be of more help. I sighed with disappointment when I suddenly felt someone's eyes on me. I recognized his presence. It's someone staring at her from the alley. Himuka! I know those eyes anywhere. Oh god. I'm using that same CG. Hello. I looked behind me to find him staring intently from the wall, from behind the wall. Why are you so weird? What is it? Yesterday, Something didn't feel right when we parted. I felt like you were angry. Ah. You aren't the kind of person to fall in love with such a man. Oh, yeah, you said that, and we're like, oh, how is he gonna react when Byakuya says she loves him? That's right. I need to know. Is it about what happened on the boat? If so, I'll apologize as many times as you want. We were thinking completely different things. Still, as I watched him apologize so desperately, I knew I had to know more about him. Don't worry, I'm not angry, Himuka. It's just that we don't really know each other very well yet. So I want you to tell me a lot about yourself so I can get to know you better. But I have nothing interesting to say. I mean, I don't know. You're a mysterious character. You maybe talk about the skull that you have in your hands. I do notice it has a blue eye and a yellow eye. I wonder, does it have like a blue show and a yellow show in there? I mean, It does kind of like roll back to maybe being Hiriko. Like blue uses Batsu, while yellow is the color that can talk to Hiriko. I'm like grasping at straws here. He's not gonna tell us that now. He seemed to be looking down on himself again. Then I'd like to visit your house. Huh? You said you found a lot of things that drifted here, right? I'd love to see your collection. But hasn't he said he hasn't found anything nice, right? Like, he's found just like bodies and stuff. Is this house just gonna be like decorated with skulls? It's gonna look like a necromancer's house. But it's all boring stuff, you know? I wouldn't be so sure about that. You might not think it's interesting, but I might. I understand. Oh, are we going? I want to see his house. We're going to the cottage. Okay, there are bones. I mean, they're animal bones. They're not people. Huh. Live in a very, like, rustic-looking house. You, like, have pelts and everything. Look like you live in a house of a hunter. Come in. Oh, yeah. Simple. The decor. Just some horns and skulls here and there. The room was filled with a variety of animal bones. All the shapes from small to large were new and unfamiliar to me. Or like creatures that like don't exist on the island. Can't imagine like the island has... I mean, an island can have many forms of life, but like large creatures, like maybe not. This is amazing! You found all these? Yes. I've never seen animal bones so big before. I mean, I have, but only in books. I've never imagined they would be this big in real life. Yes, the biggest ones are a bit heavy and hard to carry back. Heh. Just imagining his delicate body carrying back these huge bones was so adorable. Like, ooh, a body! Drag it back home! Why are you laughing? Just tell me if you find another large set of bones on the beach. Huh? I'll help you carry it here. We're friends, right? Let me help. Friends. Aren't we? You're right. Blushing slightly, Himuka looked around the room before pointing to a particular skull. That one's my favorite, a buffalo skull. The horns are amazing, right? They really are. It must have been quite strong. That one's a dodo bird. I don't think they exist in this world, but I read they're friendly and cute. It's like the dodo bird, like, that's how they became extinct. They're like overhunted. To like, yeah, like you could just walk up to one and just like hit it on the head. Like they did not see like people as predators. A dodo? I think I read about them once too in a fairy tale. These here are shark bones, but I don't have the whole thing. It seems not all the bones washed ashore. I guess I can't be too surprised about that. It was so nice to see him talking about his collection so happily. I'm glad I said I wanted to come here. That's right. All of these bones. Aren't you scared? I mean, they're just bones at this point. It's like they're not unclean. They seem to be picked quite clean. Otherwise, not at all. Right. Then I'm glad. Himuka hugged the skull he was carrying with him close to his body. It's like, oh, okay, like it's a doll. As I looked around at all the other bones, I suddenly realized the air in here seems so crisp and clear. It almost feels like the air back on Tennyo Island. Is that just my imagination? I mean, you're close to the beach. You're like on the beach. That's right. Why don't we go outside to search for things? I can't wait to see what we can find. I'm sure you'll find something wonderful. We walked barefoot across the wet sand. Mio and her lover are sleeping in the sea. Maybe it was because I was there to see them off, but I didn't feel afraid at all. Come to think of it, your name is pretty rare, isn't it, Himuka? Is there any meaning behind it? A meaning? He picked up a piece of driftwood. Oh. It's written like this. It's like the kanji, right? Your name means head towards fire? Also, look to the sun. I see. So the he in your name has multiple meanings. A wave rolled in, crashing onto the sand ahead of us and stretching out towards Himuka's name. As it pulled back, the characters disappeared. But in its place... Ah, something just washed ashore. It took the name as an offering. What? Ew. It has sand on it and everything. Look, Himuka, it's like a rainbow. A rainbow? Just don't lick it. I never expected something so cute to wash ashore. I'm surprised it survived the ocean, you know, because, like, the sugar would have, like, should have melted in the water. Should have dissolved. This is like plastic. I raised the rainbow-colored swirl up to the sun. You're not gonna eat that, are you? Huh? I gazed at the confectionery in my hand. Of course not. I wouldn't do that. But then, again, it feels like such a waste to throw it away. I mean, we can keep it. I mean, it seems in pretty good shape. I wouldn't eat it, but maybe you could, like, use it as a decoration, maybe. Oh man. You just don't want to get ants. How about we bury it then? But bury it? Don't tell me. If we give it a proper burial, it'll return to the earth. Then I'm sure it'll take root on the island. We're gonna grow a rainbow lollipop tree. I mean, it works in Animal Crossing, right? bury some bells and make a money tree. You think so? I'm sure he's admiring the sight of it on her head. The day I wove the wreath crossed my mind. The words Himuka uttered could be strange at times, but something about the way he said them felt so earnest and true. Then, let's bury it. We dug a small hole next to a blossoming flower. May this beautiful sweet be one with the island. Himuka carefully sprinkled soil on top of it. It was the first time I attended a funeral for candy. I mean, I suppose for the best. We couldn't eat it. Can't really keep it in our house. It would attract bugs. One with the island? Himuka. I just came up with the best way to send that candy off. Huh? What is it? How about we ask the sweets vendor to make the same thing? That way it'll really become one with the island, right? Huh? Yeah, I like how they keep borrowing from other cultures, like books and stuff that like wash on shore, or other replicas like the gun. That wasn't what you meant? He's laughing? Kinda. You're right. That is the best way. I always have fun when I'm with you. Didn't we like take the lollipop with us so like they have like something to compare it to? I don't know how you make like, it's not like a traditional. And I'm trying to think like what they would use, like what hard candy they would use and then twist. But yeah, they might want to see an example. I was too embarrassed to say anything. All I knew that I was seeing him happy like this made me happy as well. You seem to have a talent for finding wonderful things. You really think so? I'm sure the waves carry different things to you, knowing that you'll cherish whatever they bring. There are so many things that drift to the island. I found this one here too. Himuka raised the skull up into the air. No one ever wanted to come near me, so I only had him for company. Oh, sad. The only one who stayed by my side with was this nameless skull that washed ashore. He's the only one I could truly call a friend. Are those show in his eye sockets? Okay, that's what I thought too. They just put a blue and a yellow one in. Yes. The right is from the yellow. The left is from the blue. The red was left out. Red is a cursed color after all. Because of the old lore? You know it. To be honest, I only heard about it recently. I heard that the Red District was struck with misfortune after discovering Cinnabar on their land. But Lord Jigen gave them knowledge to lift the curse and brought the people prosperity. So the color isn't cursed at all anymore. I don't believe that everything in these legends is true. Huh? I was taken aback by the unexpected response. I mean, that was like, that was the mess, that was like the meaning of the, like the lore, right? Like they thought they were cursed, but they actually weren't. Like, so the myth was actually, or like the lore was actually false. It was just something that made them sick on their land. You know, stories keep changing as they get passed along, right? Or some secret is kept hidden from the very beginning. A secret? Himuka, do you know something else about the story? Only a little. Are you gonna tell me? Can you tell me? Himuka looked up at the sky again. He seemed to regard the sun above us with love and reverence. Long, long ago, a certain man killed Amaterasu, goddess of the sun. Huh? Did she die in the lore? I feel like in the lore she hid away. And then they had to like entice her out so the sun could shine again. The man then killed himself, regretting the sin he committed. The blood that flowed forth led to the birth of the Red. Get killed? I don't believe it's a lie. After all, the one who told me the story was Lord Hirako. He told you that? Yes. Then can I ask you something? What does Lord Hirako look like? I couldn't see what he looked like because he was hidden behind the blinds. I see. I told him about you too. Huh? You told me he was very grateful for your prayer ritual. Really? I'm glad to hear it. I have always watched you dance on stage. I haven't once missed a performance since you began. Huh? Really? The sun is very important to us all. You're no different from a goddess when you dance. I cannot take my eyes off you. You're just flattering me. I'm really happy to hear him say that. But you're only looking at Olympia, aren't you? You look sad again. Did I say something bad? Why do I keep making you look sad like that? Himuka was looking at me so seriously, I had to ask him something that had been on my mind. Himuka? You said that you like me, didn't you? I love you. Oh, he answered without the slightest hesitation, and I felt a mixture of confusion and happiness. Then, what about me do you love exactly? Huh? What do you... Oh. Start blushing. Himuka took a huge step back. There's no way I can say that. You're gonna think I'm filth if I say what I love about you. Is it my butt or my boobs? I forgot what Kuro said. Trust me, I would never ever hurt you. I won't touch you or defile you. All I'll do is watch you from afar. I will absolutely never hurt you. I will never defile you. We're gonna... and then Byakuya took that personally. Appearing utterly distraught, Himuka ran off and disappeared inside the house. Wait, are you just gonna lock yourself in? He ran away from me again. But he didn't answer my question at all. Himuka, wait! Do you like boobs or butts? I won't touch you or defile you. All I'll do is watch you from afar. Well, that's sad. Well, alright then. I looked up upon the skull he left behind on the beach. He must have really been in a hurry to leave. Oh no, did he leave the skull behind? I want to call him Bob or something. I don't know what to call the skull. I'm sorry for asking you such a terrible question, but I didn't know what to say or do. Asking him why he loved me was a cruel and selfish question. But I really wanted to know. I wanted to know if he was looking at the real me or looking at me. Or maybe. Standing alone on the beach, a fierce wave of self-loathing suddenly came over me. Himuka asked me the same thing. What would my answer be to him? Something I like about him. He's good at weaving and isn't scared of getting his hands dirty. He takes care of things that wash ashore. He likes to find and collect things like I do. He suggested we honor the candy we found. He seemed to like everything about him. Every new thing you find out about him, you like. He touched me in a very significant way. I guess that too. Your cheeks are so very hot, aren't they? It was surprising, of course, but I didn't dislike it. I knew his fingers wouldn't harm me. He seemed confused, curious, and touched me like I was precious to him. His hands were cold, but somehow I felt heat behind his touch as well. Maybe it's only my ego imagining things. I picked up the skull from the sand. Yellow, blue, red. Long, long ago, a certain man killed Amaterasu, goddess of the sun. It's not that I doubt Himuka, but not even my mother, Tsukuyomi, told me that before. Can you kill a goddess? Seems like she still exists in some capacity on the island, as like the sun. Lady Amaterasu was killed? It must be just a legend. I went and placed the skull in front of Himuka's door before departing from Corpse Beach. Alright, it must be hard to get back. I don't imagine like there'd be a carriage waiting. Alright, oh, next chapter, my partner. Are we gonna like try to solidify this relationship with Himuka? So we're still playing chase. We have to chase after him. Alright, so we've been going for quite a while. Oh, we have to deliver another letter from Yusugi. Alright, anywho, we'll stop here, take a little break. I hope you guys are having a fun and relaxing time. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.